Cool. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Valentine. I'm a co-director with the ROAR Center. If you're not familiar, the ROAR stands for Radical Organizing and Activism Resource Center. We're located in the EMU on campus. We've been supporting the encampment and the formation of this convention and coalition. Brings me a lot of joy to see everyone here today. Super glad we have some actual speakers getting going. I'm just going to open us up with a morning update from the ground in Gaza, as well as a land acknowledgement. And if you, for any reason, still have not signed in up front, Jen with Eugene Springfield DSA has been super gracious to give us access to this open slides platform you see behind me. The only way to get credentials to that is by signing in. So reminder to do that again if you haven't. I will go ahead and start us off with the land acknowledgement. We meet here today on Kalapuya Lihi, the traditional indigenous homeland of the Kalapuya people that remains unceded following the dispossession and forced removal of indigenous peoples by the US government and settlers. We want to both acknowledge the process of colonization that has violently removed the Kalapuya people from this land, as well as the criminal government acts that have violated treaty agreements. We must do more than simply acknowledge the fact that we live on stolen land. It is important to understand that the colonial process is ongoing and localized, carried out through police, prisons, policy, and societal attitudes. We have the opportunity to act on this knowledge and be better than the complacent generations before us. With this, we have a responsibility to abolish our colonial values and practices of exploitation and extraction. We must shift towards ways of living and learning that have been suppressed along with indigenous people, ways centered around reciprocity, honor, and endless gratitude towards the land. We need to not only honor and give back to the people whose land we have stolen, but also to the stolen land itself. Robin Wall Kimmerer, an incredible author and teacher, eloquently said, "We need acts of restoration, not only for polluted waters and degraded lands, but for our relationship to the world. We need to restore honor to the way we live, so that when we walk through the world, we don't have to avert our eyes with shame, so we can hold our heads up high and receive the respectful acknowledgement of the rest of the Earth's beings." Our community in the Willamette Valley and at the University of Oregon is part of a larger colonial practice worldwide. There's been global environmental violence against indigenous communities for centuries. We are committed to continuous unlearning and dedicated restorative acts in hopes of making the world a more just place. Today, descendants of the Kalapuya are citizens of the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians of Oregon. On campus, the Many Nations Longhouse and Native American Student Union support indigenous students in building community, maintaining cultural values, and pursuing their educational goals. Thank you. And now an update from Al Jazeera's daily updates. Yeah. As of this morning, Gaza's health ministry says that 77 people have been killed and 221 were wounded in the enclave during the past 24-hour reporting period. Israeli airstrikes on a United Nations-operated school sheltering displaced Palestinians in central Gaza have killed at least 40 people. Israel's army says Hamas fighters were also in the shelter. That brings the total count of those martyrs up to 36,700 killed in the last 8 months. So, yeah, I'm going to move us into our speakers. I just want to say before we get going, really, again, joy to be here with everyone and coming together. Something we talked about during the encampment is opening our minds to what is possible of each of us, what is possible of our organizations, and what we have to do to come together and the new things we will have to do to actually win demands and build a successful movement. We have to not only get the University of Oregon to divest, but we have to divest from our own, the worst of our own collective behaviors. We have to liberate ourselves into community. And so I think today is a brilliant way to begin that process and build on this momentum we have coming out of the encampment. So thank you, and I'm going to welcome up Gabriella to get us started.
That height difference is really getting in the way there. Okay. Fellow organizers, faculty allies, student org leaders, community members, and all those present and united in this struggle, it is my privilege to help welcome you all to the People's Convention for Palestine. My name is Gabriela Moreno, and I lead the Jewish Voice for Peace chapter here. I am also a ROAR co-director, among other things. We are here because we have a duty as those in positions of privilege to use our freedom to fight for collective liberation and heed Palestine's call to aid in this struggle for justice. Over the last 8 months, we have seen unbelievable horrors, starvation, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. The actions of the Israeli occupation, both during the ongoing genocide and for the last near century, remind us of our need to take decisive and direct action to resist our complicity in these atrocities. While our movement focuses specifically on pressuring the University of Oregon to meet our demands of boycotting and divesting from companies complicit in Israeli apartheid and genocide, we are part of a much broader movement of people across the globe dedicated to the just cause of fighting for Palestinian liberation. Currently, we are a part of a historic moment and a historic call to action. We painfully recognize that there are no universities left in Gaza, and we must give them ours. We must dedicate ourselves, our studies, our time, our resources in this university to Palestine. We must amplify their voices, pressure our university, and never stop fighting for Palestinian liberation. As we embark on deliberating our future as a movement, I want to remind us all that Palestine unites us. It sits at the crossroads of anti-imperialism, anti-colonialism, anti-militarism. It connects us with our struggle against policing and prisons. Palestine connects global indigenous causes, land back, and environmental issues. And as a Jewish person, I fundamentally believe that an end to anti-Semitism and all forms of racism is inextricably tied to a free Palestine. The fight for Palestine is the fight for collective liberation and an end to all interconnecting systems of oppression. As a Jewish woman of color, my identity is inextricably linked to my belief in collective liberation and a free Palestine. This journey has taken years and genuine dedication to unlearn the immense fear and indoctrination that I grew up with, that I was taught. The fear that was ingrained in my mind has transformed into action and hope for solidarity. The fear that we feel in the face of repression, whether by the university threats or the state, is being harnessed into motivation and a genuine pull to this cause. I am reminded of my Ashkenazi ancestors who escaped the Holocaust and centuries of persecution, my Sephardi ancestors who were expelled, my enslaved ancestors, my indigenous Venezuelan ancestors, and all others. I implore you to see how your identity ties to this movement. I now believe the only path to justice is a complete dismantling of all forms of oppression and white supremacy, an end to economic and social inequality, and now an end to the apartheid, the occupation, and the genocide of Palestinians. I am proud of the work we and the countless other student-led movements globally have accomplished this year. I look around this room and I see those who dedicated countless hours to this movement. We have won steps in this journey. We must maintain pressure on this university to ensure that we finally end our complicity in the genocide of Palestinians. This movement is inspired by student movements of the past. We look to those who stood up to protest the Vietnam War, to divest from South Africa. We look to third world solidarity movements across the globe and all fights for freedom. I am proud we are following this legacy. Now, I promise we will continue to organize. The school year may be ending, but our movement is only beginning. Free Palestine from the river to the sea.
right, I'm going to welcome up Solemn to say a couple words next.
Hey guys. So, I wasn't planning. I don't have anything prepared. That's what I'm going to start off with. Hi, it's good to see everyone. Thanks for coming out. Like we said at the end of the encampment, it's like just because we're not pitching up tents anymore doesn't mean we got to stop. You know, the fact that people are still here and the fact that so many good people organized everyone to come here together is great. So that's a good thing. You guys give a round of applause or something. Woo! That being said, there is no time to celebrate anything. Like we heard, like hundreds of people are getting killed every single day. Schools are getting bombed, refugee camps are getting burned down to the ground, and people's children are getting turned to dust in front of their eyes. And we cannot physically slow down. I am proud of everybody that stuck with the movement this whole year. You're doing the right human person thing. This is great. If you've been with SJP all year, we've been kind of at it. And again, the encampment was a big old. We got a bunch of people to come and be out here for the right thing, and that's really cool. And again, to see everyone continue to show up shows that you all are actually good people, and that's super awesome. That being said. Like Gabriella said, like just because the school year is over doesn't mean that the movement is ending at all. That we have to remember that part of our responsibility as college students is to propel the movement from where we are in the university, because this is the belly of the beast of sorts. Because they claim it to be as some place for opportunity and ideas, when in reality, if you try to express those ideas, they'll shut you down. And a lot of people are watching universities, and shit happens here, and a lot of money comes and goes through here, and important people come and go through here. So we, in the same vein that we have the responsibility to act, period, we have the responsibility to act beyond the school year. So there's that. I'm speaking a little too far forward. I'm not going to be in Eugene over the summer, so but don't get it twisted. Brother. Woo! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! All right, long live the Intifada. Yalla, let's go.
Is that better? Okay. I'm going to welcome Diego up next.
Okay, actually, we're going to welcome up May Bracelin.
Hi, everybody. Whoa. My name is May Bracelin. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the chair of the UO Young Democratic Socialists of America. As socialists, our organization fiercely opposes imperialism, apartheid, and genocide. We look forward and fight every day to a world free of the systems of capitalism, white supremacy, and neocolonialism which beat our people down. We look forward to a new world, born of the ashes of the old, run democratically by the workers and all oppressed peoples. This is the world that all of us here are struggling to create. It is the world that we could glimpse through the solidarity we witnessed at the encampment and the power we had every time we took the streets. The encampment was a broad movement with leaders that had many different approaches to politics, all with strengths and all with weaknesses. It was the broadness and diversity of tactics that gave our movement and gave our coalition strength. To create this new world, we must believe in a politics based in mobilizing the masses of students and workers at this university into action against the Israeli apartheid, which our university financially supports with our tuition and our labor. On the 22nd of May, our coalition took a deal with the administration to consolidate our gains. Out of this, we won 5 Palestinian student transfers, a Middle East, North Africa, and South Asian cultural center, an end to the Sabra contract, a committee to work towards ethical investment, aka divestment. But this is far from our full demands, though it might be one step in the right direction. We cannot stop and we cannot rest until we win full disclosure and divestment. The way we win this is by pulling people together from every corner of our campus, every corner of this country, every corner of the world to stand together for Palestine, for a free Palestine in our lifetime. By fully utilizing the endless power of the people. Our coalition has achieved so much in such short time. Imagine what we could do with the entire future at our disposal. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. That's all I gotta say. I love you all so much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diego, and unlike the previous speakers, I'm not going to be doing like a political speech here. This is an update from the Oversight Committee, which was formerly known as the Negotiating Committee, but we're not doing any negotiating anymore. So we are the group that is charged with overseeing the implementation of the agreement that we voted on and accepted 2 weeks ago now. So we are keeping UO accountable and making sure that it's living up to its promises. So I'm going to go through point by point all the things that we agreed to, that the UO agreed to concede, and how that's going, the work that we're doing to hold them to account. So first, with regards to the 5 fully funded scholarships for undergrads from Gaza. We are currently researching how similar scholarship programs for Gazan students at other universities are being implemented. That includes reaching out to student organizers of encampments at those universities, because a lot of them came to their deals a month or more ago and have a lot more experience on this right now. We are working closely with faculty like Michael Dreiling to ensure that UO is actually getting the process of creating these scholarships going on the back end. Students will have to go through the standard application process and be accepted, and it is too late for them to do that for fall term of this coming year, so it will be later than that. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. We anticipate that the UO will try to screw us by providing less than the agreed upon number of scholarships with the excuse that they didn't get enough applicants. Because that's the language in the agreement, is up to depending on the number of applicants. So in order to counter that, we need to spread the word about these availabilities. We are currently reaching out to national organizations like SJP and JVP who have contacts in Gaza so that they can spread the word about that. But also some of us know people in Gaza and in Palestine, and we need to do that as a group. So we will also use social media to accomplish that. Separately, there is the Scholars at Risk program, which can act more immediately. That is a faculty committee, which will be meeting for the first time this month. It works through the Division of Global Engagement, and it has a mandate from UO through the agreement to pay special attention to people affected by the war in Gaza. Our faculty allies will be going to this committee, and if all goes well, we can have up to 3 Palestinian scholars at the UO by this fall. Next, there is the Sabra boycott. We have proof of an email from Carl Schulz to the head of purchasing and contracting, instructing them to prioritize local hummus over Sabra hummus. The only way to continually enforce this part of the agreement is just to keep our eyes peeled in the dining halls and in UO-run stores. If they do violate this agreement, it would be quietly. It would be, putting it back on the shelves without saying anything. So just keep an eye out, and then bring it to us if you do see it. Take a photo of it, that kind of thing. And then we'll make a big fuss out of it. That's the only way we can enforce this. As far as we know, it's being followed for the moment. Next, there is the Cultural Center. So the short-term temporary space is currently being presented to the Provost's office as an educational space, which is the only thing that the Provost has the power to approve unilaterally. So while we can use it for organizing, and we will, we just have to pretend that it's being used for educational stuff at least. And we can use it for actual educational stuff. We can host political education events, we can host speakers there. And then the longer term, full Middle East, North African, SWANA Cultural Center is a longer term thing because that requires an actual physical space, costs a lot of money, stuff like that. Primarily the Muslim Student Association will be working towards that. And then once SJP is a fully recognized student org, it will also be taking up some of that responsibility. Next, we have visiting speakers. So $50,000 per year has been fully made available for us to bring guest speakers to UO to talk about Palestine and to give their analysis of the genocide. That is, we have seen the money. It is definitely approved. We are already starting to compile a list of names and the contact info of their agencies and stuff like that. If you have ideas of scholars, whether from Palestine or from other places who have great analysis of this kind of thing and you would love to see speak at UO, please talk to somebody on the oversight committee. That's basically the former negotiating team plus a few others. We would love to have more names. The more we can present to the committee, the better. We're almost done here, I promise. The next thing is the working group with the UO Senate, which is designed to work towards ethical investment, disclosure, and divestment. We have the names of our representatives from the encampment on that committee. They were confirmed at our general member meeting on Wednesday. That is me, it is Danny, and it is Abby. There will also be a lot of faculty from the UO Senate, as well as, that's it. It's us and then faculty from the UO Senate. And we will be meeting starting this fall, starting this summer over Zoom. The last one is the only one that they have fully screwed us on, and that is the statement from President Scholz. A lot of you are aware of this. We made a post about it. But the day after we signed the agreement, President Scholz sent out an email with his presidential statement on the war in Gaza, and it sucked. We agreed in the agreement to a very specific set of words. We wrote it out. There was back and forth, squabbling over the details, and we agreed. And that was not what President Scholz sent out. He sent out a completely different thing, which did use the word ceasefire, but all the rest of the language was much worse. So we are extremely upset about that. It is one of the reasons why we disrupted the investiture of President Scholz, which was a really fun protest. And we will continue to pressure President Carl Scholz to release a better version of that statement. And fuck it, not just the one that we agreed on earlier, but let's make it real this time. Let's get him to say something about the genocide. Let's get him to say something about the occupation. So that's that. Just wanted to let you all know that we didn't make this agreement and then forget about it. We are still actively working to enforce it, and that work will continue over the summer.
At this time, we thank the press and any media in the room for coming to communicate our general